Okay, so the payment for the privilege of taking out the loan is called interest. And when we find the percent of the 5,000, we're going to multiply by 3 because the percent of the 5,000 is the interest we have to pay per year. Okay, so we're going to multiply these three numbers. That'll get us the interest on the loan. Then we're going to add that to the 5,000 to find out how much we have to pay back. And then over 3 years, we're going to make monthly payments. We can figure out what our monthly payment would be by dividing by the number of months in 3 years. So just a quick overview of what to do. Okay, and maybe some of y'all may already know what to do or may have gotten some assistance just by me saying what to do. But if not, okay, so the first thing we want to do is find the interest. So for the first part, we're going to go 5,000 times the 0.065. Okay, that's for every year. So this is the interest we have to pay on the 5,000 per year. So if we wanted to pay it back in 1 year, this would be the interest we'd pay. But we're paying it back in 3 years, so we got to find the interest we pay back in 3 years. Okay, then number 2, you're going to add that to the 5,000. And then for number 3, you're going to divide by 36. All right, so, I'm not going to do this for you. I think you can do these calculations. So whatever you get from number 1 is the interest you're going to pay over the entire 3 years. You add that to the 5,000 to get the total amount you have to pay back. There's 36 months in 3 years, so then divide by 36 and you'll get the monthly payment you have to make. Okay, so we got the first system, which I already wrote on the board here. Now we're going to solve this by elimination. And elimination is a good technique when you have your two equations with the variables on the same side and equal to numbers on the other side. So again, these are called standard form. The variables on one side equal to a number on the other. All right. Now, if we're going to use elimination, we're going to need to get either the A or the B to have the same but opposite number. And we're going to have to multiply to do that. Now, we can multiply because since we have equations, multiplying both sides okay. So we're going to create two new equations by multiplying to the first two equations so that we can set up either for A or B the same but opposite number. Now, when I look at this, I see the B's already have a plus minus. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the B's. And you can use the numbers that are there. So if we had a 10B and a minus 10B, that will set up elimination. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this by 5 and this by 2. And that'll create two new equations that are just proportional to the first one. So they're not different, they're just rearranged numerically. Right, just like 10 divided by 2 is 5, so is 20 divided by 4. You still get 5. All right, so here, the first equation, multiplying by 5. Now don't forget the other side. Sometimes we focus so much on the variables, we forget the other side. That's a common mistake. And then multiplying the second equation by 2. And then we add. Now, keep in mind, we're adding. Now, I've already looked at what some of you guys did and commented on it. Sometimes we think subtraction for whatever reason. We're not subtracting. We're adding. That's why we created a plus or minus here. Because if you add a plus 10 to a minus 10, you get 0. Now, it's actually plus 10b minus 10b, but that's why we're adding. Okay, so this is 31. That becomes 0. Now, another issue, goofing up negatives. We're adding. We're adding two negatives. So if you lost $20 and you lost $42, you lost $62. Okay, so then I'm not going to finish this, but I'll just point out the next step. And you still got to solve for the other variable. All right, we're forgetting to do that. Okay, again, it's not just copy down what I write, although that's a good thing. It's completing the problem. So what I would do once you get the a here is I'd probably go up to the first equation and I'd substitute the a there and solve this for the b. So you need a hint on what the next step would be. So that's what I would do. Okay, I'll pause and then I'll point out a little assistance on the substitution, the last problem, number 5 on the warm-up. Okie dokie, so now we got the last problem, which we're going to solve by substitution. And the reason why is because we already have an expression equal to a variable, and that's the first equation here. So we already know that y is equivalent to 3x minus 2. All right. So we might as well just use substitution. Now, if you wanted to use elimination, you want to set up the variables on the same side, you could make minus 3x from both sides, and then you could have a minus 3x plus y equals negative 2. Maybe you want to do that, but I'm asking you to use substitution because it's important to review that. But I'll just point out what you could do. All right, so what we have here is a way to substitute for the y. In the first equation, we have that the y is equivalent to 3x minus 2, so let's replace that in the second equation. Okay, and I'm not going to finish this. Do the distributive property. You'll get what x equals. And then once you get the x, you can substitute that right here to find the y. So again, do your distributive property, simplify the left side, solve the equation, you get what x is. And then to find y, you would replace the x right here to find the y.